This page is where every proposal begins, and we call it the takeoff section. Takeoff simply means gathering key information, whether it's about the client or the project, like measurements, job site details, and more. The first field you'll see is Select Customer. When you click it, a side menu will pop up. From there, you can either choose an existing customer from your list or click Add Customer at the bottom to create a new one. Fill in the details for the new client and click Save. Once you do, that client will now show up as the customer for this proposal. Next, give the project a job name. This is a required field, and it's important to choose a name that's unique and easy to recognize, especially if this client will have multiple projects over time. For this training example, we're going to name the project Backyard Renovation. This name will carry through the entire proposal, so make sure it's something clear and specific. The address and email fields will autofill from the customer info you entered earlier. Also, just so you know, when we move to the next page and begin building the proposal with actual measurements, we'll be working off a real backyard renovation design that we created in partnership with Legacy Landscapes. That way, you'll get to see exactly how the process works in a real-world scenario. The Build Hours field will auto-populate based on the data you entered in the Profit Genie. Specifically, it uses your default hours worked per day minus your average unbillable time, and it's locked here because it's tied to your PMM model. If you've got a project that's farther away than usual, you'll want to adjust for that drive time later in the project overhead with markup section. We'll cover that separately. Next, enter the crew size. That's the number of people who will be on the job the majority of the time. If you know that certain sections of the project will require more or fewer crew members, you'll be able to adjust the crew size later on within each individual section. Behind the scenes, your PMM, or production minus materials model, will automatically adjust based on the crew size you enter here. You won't see that calculation right now, but once your proposal is complete and you get to the markup page, you'll see how it's all factored in. For this situation, we're going to put a crew of 2. The sales rep field is optional, but it's helpful for tracking who sold the project, especially if you have multiple reps on your team. And finally, the created by field auto-populates with whoever is logged in and creating the proposal. Once the general project info is set, you'll be asked, how many landscape work areas will you be estimating? This step lets you split your estimate into different parts of the project. For example, maybe your client wants to install a front yard and a backyard, but they're not sure if they want to do both all at once. In that case, you'd enter 2 work areas. That allows you to give them 2 separate bids, all within the same clean proposal. This isn't just about keeping things organized, it's also a really effective sales strategy. Earlier in the software, we talked about ISPS, or Integrated Sales Psychology and Strategies. Breaking a proposal into multiple work areas, even if the client hasn't asked for it, gives you flexibility and helps avoid sticker shock. Let me give you a real-world example. Years ago, I had a client who called me to design a water feature. She asked for a ballpark price, and I told her it would be around $40,000. She said okay, but it was clear she was stretching her comfort zone. As we talked more, she got excited and decided she wanted to redo the rest of the backyard too. I knew that if I gave her one combined bid for everything, she probably would have backed out. So I gave her 2 bids instead, one for the water feature area, one for the rest of the backyard. Now the water feature came in right at around 40 grand, which is what I told her it would be. The backyard work added an additional $20,000. She told me if you would have lumped all this together, I would have never done the project. So she signed for the water feature right then on the spot, and because she already had the backyard numbers, she had time to think it over, and she said yes to that too before we ever showed up. This is exactly how ISPS works for you. You don't have to master sales psychology. Elevation bakes it right into the process. Now, I'm going to give you a quick note on packages. Later on in the software, you will have the ability to create packages within each work area. A work area is designed as a larger zone of the landscape, like the backyard that contains multiple sections, such as a patio, fire pit, planting beds, lawn, and so on. When you get to the packages section, you'll be able to include or exclude any of those sections within each work area. This gives your clients flexible options without overwhelming them with one big price, and it's one of the most powerful ways ISPS is built into Elevation. Now, once you decide how many work areas you'll need, click Next. Now you'll name each work area. In this example, we will use Work Area 1 as patio and Work Area 2 as a garden. Then click Next again, and you'll choose which sections you'll be bidding inside each area. And that's it. Splitting your proposal into work areas keeps it clean, clear, and flexible. And it makes it easier for your client to say yes without feeling overwhelmed.